Mr. President, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for this chance.
I really wonder about peace. How have you been discussing with your colleagues and counterparts on the sideline of WEF this year?
It's the question is very important for, I think, not only for Armenia. I think it's a question that now it's very important for all of the people around the world, because you're looking at the situation in Ukraine, looking at the situation in Palestinian and situation in Armenia and borders and some of other places. If without peace we can't do something. We're talking about new technology, we're talking about climate problems, we're talking about everything's. But without peace we can't do nothing. Because we, Armenia and people of Armenia, citizens of Armenia, well know what is the price of the peace. And all of the representatives, all of responsibilities, I mean leaders of the countries, must do everything for the peace. It is, I think, for me it's main important. I listen many interesting things about new challenges for the humanity. I mean, artificial intelligence or something else. I listen many things about climate problems, I was in a COP 28, 27, but when I listen these discussions and when I listen these officials announcements, but main problem is peace. And it's a reason when I'm talking with my colleagues, I told them that really we must do everything for the peace, not only about my country, but around the world, because really we need peace. And when I looking at the defense budget of many countries, we spent $1 trillion more for the military, for the weapons, for the something else. And every economist knows that it is not
the best way to spend the money.
Yes. It is not. It's a very bad way to spend the money.
Indeed.
Yes, but we can spend this money for climate change, for the poverty, or something else.
That's a very critical discussion, Mr. President. So what you're trying to say, it seems to me, is that peace is both the foundation and the results of all the efforts that we are making today.
I don't know. What is it? Maybe results of. Maybe results. Yes. Yes. Yes, during the peace, for example, for Armenia, it was the question what we should do. I mean, government, it's others. Well, for example, we're thinking about democratic reforms, we're thinking about our social security system, health security, something else. But during the war, just we're talking about defense, about the security of our guarantees of our countries or something else. I think it's a result of historical maybe. Maybe it's a result of our political view about the future of our region. It's a result of the first, personally for the small countries, it's a result of the position of the
other players.
I mean, regional leaders, regional players, or global players.
Mr. President, you see a huge discussion here in Davos about a balance to be kept, so-called security and development. With a fractured world, as you said earlier, the pendulum is swinging in many parts of the world to the so-called security. And yet we all know without the other side, which is development, security is impossible. So how do you see a articulative balance to be kept, especially now in the fractured world, for a country like Armenia, which is not the largest in the world in terms of population and geography? So how countries like yours are trying to keep your balance?
Without security, it's impossible thinking about development, but without development, it's very difficult
guarantee security.
But it's really, for example, for us, it's understandable now. The development is very important for us. But with last 3 years, our economy has increased a huge percent. It's very strange for many countries. For example, in 2020, 2020, yes, it was about GDP increasing 12.6%.
Congratulations.
And last year it was about 9%, and inflation is 2%. It's very surprised for all of many countries. Yes, looking, and without
You must have done something right.
Yes, yes. It's a result of reforms what we did during the last 6 years, and understandable. It's a main problem is fighting with corruptions, and with corruptions it's impossible something doing and thinking about development. It's one of the main point what our development results, and this we understand, and without development we can't doing something for about security, but we spend a lot of money for security, for support, for protecting our borders or our people, and it means that if you ask me question what is important, development or security, I will ask you that it's both, and they're connected.
So intertwined.
Yes, yes. And without security we can't. For example, for Armenia, it's now main problem is peace and stability, because you have a lot of program, a lot of ideas for development of Armenia, but without stability, without peace, nobody wants to invest it in Armenia.
Another thing I want to ask for your leadership vision is about a trend we are seeing these days, particularly over the past, let's just say, 5 to 8 years. How do you see that the domestic agenda vis-a-vis the global partnership? Sometimes people put too much on the former and have little energy left anymore for the latter. So, Mr. President, I can tell from your early articulation, you are a very philosophical person. Tell me more about this area.
Why it's beginning from COVID? Because it's very strange for not only it's health, it's health problem. It's something else. But in the position of economist and position of economy, it was strange because the first time, I'm not meaning that during the war time or something else, all of the government closed these countries. It's impossible, and if somebody won't tell you that it will possible, it will be a situation that the countries decided closes countries and decided continue live himself without export, import, without international attention. It was surprised and something thinking that we are crazy economists or crazy people. But really we live this situation during a year and more. And change, it is mean that our mind is changing about the future of the development of economy. For me personally, it was very interesting. What is the reason? Because, for example, for Armenia during this COVID time, when we have a two-way: help people pay money. It is USA and European Union, and the second way created some of new programs for the help businessmen or something, for the created new jobs or something else. We decided going by the second way, and it's helped us after the COVID very quickly during short time, doing everything for the development of economy. It's a result that in 2021 it was a very bad situation. But in 2020, I've been asked in 2021, it was about 6% of increase. But during the COVID, we decreased about, I don't know, about 10% or 12%, I forget about it. It means that the way what we decided go by the help, not paying the money for people that invested money for industrial, for the created new job, it's correct. It's a problem from USA now, it's a problem for Europe, it's until now continued. Yes. It's a main problem from coming there. looking at the debt problem for them because they paid a lot of money for without working economy. It's mean that created new debt and I think
inflation too.
yes, inflation too. And now it's our domestic problem for Armenia. It's institutional reforms for you. Because after the collapse of Soviet Union, we, by the help of many international organizations, mainly for World Bank and IMF, we change all of this style of our economy. And now for one of the problems for domestic is continue our reforms, institutional reforms, health reforms, and something else, and create it as a new atmosphere for the investments, because we need a lot of investments, and we need a lot of businesses, open the businesses. But now Armenia is one of the most famous country for IT sectors. I don't know.
Investment about what?
I mean, mainly we decided high technologies. We talked about it because our strategy became one of the high technologies countries around the world, not only for us, for the region, but around the world, because we're thinking that Armenia can become it, because we have a main resources for us is people, educated people. It's a reason that we invested a lot for educations and health system.
China and Armenia have been having good interactions over the years throughout history and also today. So how do you see the potential and the synergy there? Even though we are in a fractured world, yet there are a lot of things that can be done.
Yes. Really from the beginning, independence time, we have a very excellent relations and good relations with China. I personally work with Chinese officials in 90s and until now.
Were you?
In that time, I was the mayor of the Yerevan in 90s.
Oh,
yes,
that's
it was.
very interesting.
Yes, and I have a close relations with the embassy of China and the people officials who visited us. I don't know what's the reason. I've never been in China. Maybe I will use my position and will visit to China, because really I think not only for me personally, but for all of the people around the world is very interested in China and understand their philosophy, your mentality, and looking your developments. Because I personally was very interested by after the reforms, Deng Xiaoping time. It was, for example, during my lecture, I presented the Chinese example, for example, what China can do during 20 years, change all of the style of and face of his country. And now I know that we have a huge potential for using our relations, because politically we haven't any problem. And sometimes I can ask you that a lot of Chinese businessmen invested and the government invested in Armenia too. And we have some ideas, strategic ideas about investments. It may be it's in infrastructures investments program, and we're thinking about high technology.
What kind of high technologies?
Digital, we're just thinking about digital, because we need some technology. Because it's a deleted software and hardware, yes. We needed some of investment in hardware sectors. And we're thinking about, we have a consultation and discussions with our Chinese friends, and I hope from several years, or this year for beginning, result will be good, and in the next time when we meet, I will ask you that really Chinese investments price of about $400 million or $1 billion after open the borders.
Yeah.
After this
Looking
idea
forward.
of peace crossroad, it will work. Really, it is possible. For example, a lot of bring investment in Armenia into this region.
So, Mr. President, I see your point. You're saying your country has to do your own things well in order to attract all these possibilities and partnership.
Yes, we are already doing. We are really beyond this. We know we're beginning our talk with peace and we'll finish with peace. We know the price of peace. and now we are ready doing for the peace. It is our main strategy and main idea, and we are doing for the must doing and will doing for the peace everything.
Mr. President, what a pleasure to see you on the sideline of annual forum of Davos. What a pleasure.
Thank you very much.